Have you ever had one of those moments where everything seemed to go wrong at once? Your morning coffee spills, you miss the bus, someone says something that cuts just a little too deep, and by the end of the day you're left wondering, what is going on? We tend to brush these things off as bad luck, as random chaos in an indifferent universe. But what if I told you that these moments, these patterns, these seemingly accidental collisions of circumstance are not random at all? What if the universe has been trying to get your attention and you've been too busy, too distracted, too caught up in the noise to notice? Now, before you think I'm suggesting some cosmic postman is delivering little warning notes to your doorstep, let me clarify. The universe doesn't work with telegrams or smoke signals. It speaks in the language of pattern, of rhythm, of synchronicity. It speaks through the very fabric of your experience. And when you're heading in a direction that's out of tune with the fundamental nature of things, when you're pushing against the current rather than flowing with it, the universe has ways of getting your attention. Think about it this way. If you were walking toward the edge of a cliff, wouldn't you want someone to tap you on the shoulder? The universe is always tapping. The question is whether you're listening. Let's talk about what these signs actually look like. Because I think most of us, when we hear the word sign, imagine something dramatic. A burning bush, a voice from the heavens, a lightning bolt spelling out your name. But the universe is far more subtle than that. It whispers before it shouts. It nudges before it pushes. And if you ignore the whispers long enough, well, then you might find yourself face down in the mud, wondering how you got there. The first sign is resistance. Persistent, grinding, exhausting resistance. You wake up every morning with a sense of dread about the day ahead. Your work feels like pushing a boulder uphill. Your relationships feel strained, forced, like wearing shoes that are 2 sizes too small. Everything requires tremendous effort, and nothing seems to flow naturally. This is not life being difficult for the sake of difficulty. This is the universe telling you that you're swimming against the current. You're trying to force something that doesn't want to be forced. You're clinging to a path that isn't yours to walk. The river wants to carry you in a certain direction, but you're gripping the rocks on the shore, insisting that you know better. Here's the thing. Life is supposed to have a certain ease to it. Not ease in the sense that everything is comfortable and nothing challenges you, but ease in the sense that when you're moving in harmony with your nature, with the way things actually work, there's a flow. Things open up. Doors appear. Opportunities present themselves. It's like sailing with the wind rather than against it. But when you're out of alignment, when you're forcing yourself to be someone you're not, or chasing something that was never meant for you, the universe puts obstacles in your path, not to punish you, but to redirect you, to get you to stop and ask, wait, why is this so hard? Why does this feel so wrong? The second sign is repetition. The same problems keep showing up in different disguises. You leave one job because of a difficult boss, only to find the exact same personality at the next company. You end a relationship because your partner wouldn't listen to you. And somehow your next relationship has the same issue. You move to a new city to escape your problems, only to discover that you packed them in your suitcase and brought them along. This is not coincidence. This is not bad luck. This is the universe holding up a mirror. It's saying, look, here's the pattern. Here's the thing you need to see about yourself. Here's the lesson you keep refusing to learn. The universe is remarkably patient, but it's also remarkably persistent. If there's something you need to understand, something you need to change, it will keep presenting you with the same situation over and over again until you finally get it. It's like being stuck on the same level of a game because you haven't learned the skill you need to progress. And the interesting thing is, the moment you actually learn the lesson, The moment you genuinely shift something inside yourself, the pattern disappears. Suddenly, those difficult people stop appearing in your life. Those situations that used to trigger you don't bother you anymore. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. You learned what you needed to learn, and the universe said, "All right, let's move on to the next chapter." The third sign is exhaustion. Not the kind of tired you feel after a good day's work. Not the pleasant fatigue of having used your body and mind fully, but a bone-deep, soul-crushing exhaustion that no amount of sleep seems to cure. You wake up tired, you go to bed tired, everything feels heavy. This is your system telling you that something is fundamentally wrong. You're living in a way that drains you rather than sustains you. You're giving your energy to things that don't deserve it. You're maintaining a version of yourself that requires constant effort to uphold. Think about it. A tree doesn't get exhausted from being a tree. A bird doesn't tire itself out by being a bird. They simply are what they are, and in being what they are, they fulfill their nature effortlessly. But we humans have this peculiar habit of trying to be something we're not. We create elaborate personas, we maintain complicated lies, we twist ourselves into shapes that please others while betraying ourselves. And this requires enormous energy. When the universe sends you exhaustion, it's saying, stop, rest, reconsider. The way you're living is not sustainable. Something has to change. The fourth sign is disconnection. You feel increasingly isolated from the people around you. Conversations feel hollow. Your relationships lack depth. You go through the motions of social interaction, but there's no real connection, no genuine presence. You're there, but you're not really there. This happens when you've wandered too far from your authentic self. When you're wearing a mask for so long that you've forgotten what your real face looks like. People can sense this even if they can't articulate it. There's something missing in your presence, something essential. And so genuine connection becomes impossible. Because connection requires vulnerability, authenticity, truth. The universe is fundamentally relational. Everything exists in relationship to everything else. The wave exists because of the ocean. The leaf exists because of the tree. You exist because of this vast web of relationships that stretches out in all directions. When you feel disconnected, it's a sign that you've forgotten this. You've started believing in your own separate existence, your own isolated self. And this belief is making you miserable. The fifth sign is chaos. Things keep breaking down. Your car stops working. Your computer crashes. Your plans fall apart at the last minute. One thing after another goes wrong, and you feel like you're constantly putting out fires. Now, sometimes things just break. That's the nature of the material world. But when you're experiencing a pattern of breakdown, when it feels like the universe is dismantling your carefully constructed life, piece by piece, pay attention. This is often the universe clearing away what no longer serves you. It's making space for something new. We cling so tightly to our structures, our plans, our ideas of how things should be, and sometimes the only way for something better to enter is for the old to fall apart. The farmer doesn't plant new seeds in a field that's already full of crops. First, there must be clearing. First, there must be space. The breakdown is not the problem. The breakdown is the preparation. The sixth sign is physical symptoms. Your body starts speaking up. Headaches, stomach problems, muscle tension that won't release. Your body is wise, much wiser than your thinking mind. It knows when something is wrong, long before your thoughts catch up. And when it can't get your attention any other way, it starts sending pain signals. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is information. It's your body's way of saying, hey, something needs to change here. We can't keep going like this. When you ignore the whispers, the body starts to shout. And if you ignore the shouting, well, then you might find yourself flat on your back with no choice but to listen. The seventh sign is synchronicity. Strange coincidences start happening. You think of someone and they call. You need information and a book falls off the shelf right in front of you. You meet exactly the right person at exactly the right moment. These moments of meaningful coincidence are like breadcrumbs, the universe leaving you a trail to follow. Carl Jung, that great explorer of the mind, spoke about synchronicity as evidence that there's more going on than we typically acknowledge. That beneath the surface chaos of life, there's a pattern, an order, a meaning. When synchronicities increase, it often means you're at a crossroads. The universe is trying to guide you, trying to show you which way to turn. But here's the crucial thing. These signs are not omens of doom. They're not the universe being cruel or punishing you. They're course corrections. They're love letters written in the language of reality. The universe is not trying to hurt you. It's trying to wake you up. Think about a fever. When you have an infection, your body raises its temperature. This doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable, sometimes even painful. But the fever is not the problem. The fever is the solution. It's your body's way of fighting off what doesn't belong. In the same way, these signs, these disruptions, these uncomfortable moments are not the problem. They're your life's immune system activating. Something toxic has entered, something that doesn't belong, and your system is working to eliminate it.
Right.
The question is, what do you do when you notice these signs? Because noticing is only the first step. You could notice them and then promptly ignore them, which is what most people do. We're remarkably good at seeing what we don't want to see and then pretending we didn't see it. The response required is not dramatic action. It's not about quitting your job tomorrow or ending your marriage or selling all your possessions and moving to a monastery. Those might be the right moves for some people in some situations, but dramatic external changes without internal understanding usually just create more problems. The response required is stillness. Stop. Be quiet. Listen. The universe is speaking, but you have to create space to hear it. You have to turn down the volume on all the noise, all the constant chatter, all the opinions and expectations and demands that fill your head from morning to night. Sit with yourself. Not with your phone, not with a book, not with any distraction. Just sit. And in that sitting, ask yourself honestly, what am I being told here? What am I refusing to see? What am I clinging to that needs to be released? The answers won't come as words. They'll come as knowing, as recognition, as a feeling of yes, that's it. Your body will relax slightly. Something that was tight will loosen. This is the sign that you've touched truth. And then, once you've heard the message, once you've understood what's being asked of you, the work is simple but not easy. You have to act on what you know. You have to make the change even when it's uncomfortable, even when people don't understand, even when you're not sure how it will all work out. This is where most people get stuck. They receive the message, they understand what needs to happen, and then they do nothing. They go back to their old patterns, their old ways, their comfortable misery. And so the signs must get louder, the whispers become shouts, the nudges become shoves, but it doesn't have to be this way. You can choose to listen to the whispers. You can choose to respond when the universe taps gently on your shoulder, rather than waiting for it to knock you flat. Because here's what I want you to understand. The universe is not separate from you. You are not a tiny, isolated self navigating a hostile cosmos. You are the universe experiencing itself in human form. When the universe warns you, it's you warning yourself. Your deeper wisdom, your connection to something larger than your small ego self, is trying to get through to your conscious awareness. So these signs, these warnings, They're not coming from outside. They're bubbling up from inside. From that place in you that knows, that's always known what's true and what's false, what serves life and what doesn't. The question becomes, are you willing to trust yourself? Are you willing to trust the deeper knowing, even when it contradicts what your thinking mind insists is true? Are you willing to follow where life wants to take you, even when it means letting go of what you thought you wanted? This is the great adventure of being human. Not knowing where you're going, but trusting the process anyway. Not clinging to a fixed path, but being willing to be surprised, to be redirected, to be shown something you never imagined. The signs are there. They've always been there. The universe has been speaking to you in 1,000 different ways since the day you were born. The only question is whether you're finally ready to listen. Because once you start listening, once you start responding, once you start living in alignment with what's true rather than what's comfortable or expected or safe, everything changes. Not necessarily in the ways you imagine, but in ways that matter far more deeply. You stop fighting. You stop forcing. You stop exhausting yourself trying to swim against the current. And instead, you let the river carry you. You let life live itself through you. You become like water, flowing around obstacles rather than crashing against them. Always moving, always changing, always finding the path of least resistance. This is what the universe has been trying to tell you all along. Stop resisting. Stop clinging. Stop pretending. Just be what you are, where you are with what you have. And trust that this is exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you're meant to become. The signs are not threats, they're invitations. The universe is not warning you away from danger, it's calling you toward your true life. The question is, will you answer?